Live from Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, FSN presents Cincinnati Reds baseball. The defending world champions come to town. It's the St. Louis Cardinals against the Cincinnati Reds, the first of a weekend series. And let those Eagles fly. Pre-game ceremonies today here. The Reds fly home after the long road trip, hoping maybe this homestand can bring them a W for a change. Hi, hello, and welcome to Cincinnati, everybody. Along with the Cowboy Jeff Brantley, I'm George Grand. Reds glad to get home. Rolled into town early this morning, and no doubt about it, Cowboy, they were glad to get home after this road trip.
Well, they were glad to get home because every third game that they played seemed to be a difficult ball game to play, and it didn't come up roses for the Reds. But anytime that you can get back home and you get back into your own home, you see your own kids, and you're back into a comfortable situation, things should seem to work a little bit towards your favor.
Take a look at the team ERA on this road trip, over 5.5, and starters ERA 6.14. That's part of the story that we look at after this 11-day road trip. We come home for the homestand, and when you talk about getting it right, you begin to start to talk about getting it right with your starting pitcher in Bronson Arroyo.
Well, that's where you have to start, George. And earlier in the season, that was the one positive that the Reds had working for them every single fifth day. Right now, it's one of the question marks that you throw up unless Harang's on the mound. But this guy, Bronson Arroyo, is one of the guys that should be a mainstay in this starting rotation. He got it together a little bit better in his last start, throwing a lot more fastballs early in the ball game, and that allowed him to be very pitch efficient early in the game, save those breaking balls for later on in the ball game. Even though some of the plays didn't quite go his way, he seemed to have a much better attitude and a much better control of the situation that was going on in Seattle.
3 bunch in that inning spelled doom for him, but afterwards he said he felt better than any time this season. What will he be facing? Well, Prince Albert comes to town, and he's been rough on the Reds.
And he is definitely not in a can, my friend. This guy can flat hit the baseball, especially in this ballpark. And if you've got to pick a guy in their lineup that you do not want to beat you, it is Pujols. If Pujols beats you in this ballpark, it's your own fault. You look through the lineup as a pitcher, you say, okay, I don't want that guy to beat me. That guy is Albert Pujols. That
guy's going to be in the lineup, and we've got a lineup of pitchers coming in tonight. It's the Cardinals coming to town. Bronson Arroyo goes tonight for the Reds. Loesch goes tomorrow, and then the youngster Bailey on Sunday. More after this. From the Queen City, Cincinnati Reds baseball is brought to you by your local Chrysler dealers, where our award-winning lineup of vehicles are all engineered beautifully. By Pepsi-Cola, official soft drink of the Cincinnati Reds. Pepsi, it's the cola. By your local Dodge dealers, grab life by the horns. And by Skyline Chili. Hey, game time or anytime, it's always Skyline time. It's Mr. Redleg Stash Night tonight, and maybe a night where stashes and rally caps can get the Reds back on the right track as the Cardinals come to town. Reds have already gone to St. Louis twice. This is the first time the Cardinals are coming here, and let's take a look at the probables for this weekend. Brad Thompson goes tonight against Bronson Arroyo. Mike Maroth goes tomorrow, Cowboy, and what an acquisition he could be for the Cardinals in the second half.
Huge.
He'll go against Kyle Loesch, and the hope for the Cardinals is that Braden Looper will come off the disabled list, pitch on Sunday against Homer Bailey. Big test for Homer Bailey come Sunday, huh?
Well, I think every test is a big test for Homer Bailey, but I tell you what, that kid can handle it. He's fine with me.
He'll be fine on Sunday, and right now it's Arroyo on Friday. Coming up, Albert Pujols and company come to town. Reds and the Redbirds next on FSN. Ready to play some baseball. Lineup cards exchanged, and Tony La Russa and Jerry Narron each exchanging the lineup cards. No supernumeraries coming up on this night. Let's check your Rico starting lineup for Tony La Russa, the defending world champion Cardinals, as they come to town. So Taguchi, career high 18-game hitting streak snapped this week in New York against the Mets. Aaron Miles is the shortstop. Eckstein's on the disabled list. Albert Pujols will bat third. Duncan, who's killed the Reds along with Pujols, will hit in the 4th spot. Scott Rowland back in the lineup. He's behind Duncan. Juan Encarnacion. Yadi Molina just off the disabled list. He's brilliant behind the plate. Adam Kennedy at second, and Thompson, the pitcher, bats in the number 9 position. Here's the Reds' big right-hander, Bronson Arroyo, Cowboy.
Bronson has really got to come out and get ahead of the count early in this ball game. That doesn't mean that he can't throw breaking balls, but it does mean that he's got to throw a lot of fastballs so he understands what kind of fastball he's going to have throughout the ball game. Establish that fastball early in the ball game. Keep his pitch count down, and by throwing a lot of fastballs, he can get ahead, pitch to contact, and he can get through the first 4 or 5 innings without a high pitch count. Probably most importantly, and for any pitcher that pitches in this ballpark, is stay away from the long ball. The home run ball in this ballpark absolutely kills you, especially if you're walking guys, as we've seen Bronson do as of late, which is very abnormal for him.
Arroyo's ready to go. Let's check your forward defensive alignment behind him. Encarnacion at third, Gonzalez at short, Phillips at second. Scott Hatteberg's back at first. A .995 fielding percentage. He's been very solid for the Reds. Dunn, Hamilton, Griffey in the outfield, and David Ross is behind the plate. Two of the best throwing catchers in the game matched up against each other in this series. Ross and Yadi Molina. That is your forward defensive alignment. The Reds and the Cardinals coming at it. The Reds have made 55 errors on the year. The Cardinals 53. Each team in the lower rung of defense, and that's very odd for the Cardinals with the Gold Glovers that they've had, but they've had so many injuries. Here's Taguchi. The injury to Jim Edmonds has allowed him to play a lot more. He's taken advantage of it. Had a career-high 18-game hit streak snapped in New York this week, and for Taguchi, he's in the leadoff spot. It's pretty good. Left center field. Hamilton back at the warning track, hauls it in. Boy, that first step so important, Cowboy, and that first step made that play.
Well, that's the step that you can't teach, George. That's instinct. You can show angles and you can teach guys how to get to the baseball, but that first step is instinct, and Josh Hamilton has it.
And you talk about defense and how much it means. Bronson Arroyo and Red starters have had so much trouble in the first inning. He doesn't get to that ball. All of a sudden you got a runner on second and you're starting from the stretch already. Nice to have somebody haul it down, and he's back to the windup, and here's Aaron Miles.
You know, George, you were talking about a lot of the players on the Cardinals being on the DL. That's part of the reason they were able to play so well down the stretch last year. Those guys came off the DL and they were fresh and ready to go.
They're hoping for the same this year, but unlike last year where they were hanging around all season long and then put on a big stretch in September, they're 10 games out. The Reds in the Central Division start play 16.5 out. Houston 13.5 out. Pittsburgh 13 out. The Cardinals 10.5, and the Cubs 7.5 at the start of play today, with Milwaukee in first.
Nobody counted on Milwaukee or anybody out of this division to jump out to that kind of lead.
Yeah, and I think everybody had a chance. The Cardinals moved to within 5 or 6 games last month when Milwaukee stumbled. But now the Brewers are back playing their kind of baseball. Looped into left. Here comes Dunn. This is one of those nights in the summer where you don't have to worry about the sun the first couple of innings. Cloud cover here in Cincinnati and a chance of showers again. These two teams are very familiar with showers this week. The Cardinals rained out of their game last night in New York. The Reds played 2 nights of rain in Philadelphia. And we told you about that doubleheader that the Mets and the Phillies were going to play in Philadelphia. Well, the Mets won the first of the day-night doubleheader 6-5 today, and the second game just underway.
That's the first thing that Walt Jocketty and I talked about as we walked into the bottom floor of the Westin last night, as they were checking in at the same time we got in, talking about how bad the weather could be here.
Well, one thing that's never bad is that guy, number 5, Albert Pujols, drills another base hit against Arroyo in his career. He's 5 for 24 and 2 homers. Against the Reds, though, Albert's numbers: 369, 29 homers, 88 knocked in. He just kills the Reds.
And you could see where that pitch was. That pitch was almost 6 inches to a foot on the inside part of the plate and running in, and he's still able to take the inside route to the ball and hit it back up the middle.
Here's Duncan at 273 and 14 homers. You hear a lot of hitting coaches say stay inside the ball. It's easier said than done. Albert's got the ability to do that consistently.
Picture perfect.
There's Duncan. Talk about a great start to his career against the Reds. Pujols 369. Duncan's even better. 426, 6 homers, 10 knocked in against Cincinnati. That's in only a year and a half of work against the Reds.
and he's really learning at the big league level, George. I don't know that Chris got a whole lot of downtime in the minor leagues, and what he's learning and the different positions he's learning have all been up here.
He was a first baseman in the minors. Came here, and no way he's going to be playing first. Just like Albert, when Pujols came up, McGuire was at first. He played third, then he went to right, then he went to left, and finally when McGuire left, he became a Gold Glover down at first. Duncan's had to learn how to play the outfield.
And at this level, even if you're in left field, if you miss a ball and you're not used to it, they still do.
Oh, fortunately, this one went right up to shoot. He hits it right on the button, but straight up. Who'll take charge? Griffey does. And even with the base hit by Albert, Arroyo gets out of trouble in the first. Hatteberg, Phillips, and Griffey due up when we return. Mr. Red Leg stash night at Great American Ballpark. The mustaches are out tonight. Reds hopeful maybe that'll be a good omen on a night where they play the Cardinals. Here's your Rico starting lineup for Jerry Narron and the Reds, who come home after a 3-6 road trip. Hatteberg leads it off. Phillips bats second. In June, how about the month for Junior? 10 homers and 19 knocked in. Dunn hits in the cleanup spot. He's been on a homer binge the last week. Encarnacion homered yesterday. Josh Hamilton, the center fielder. Gonzalez, Ross, and Arroyo. That's 1 through 9, your Rico starting lineup. And here's the chucker for the Cardinals.
Instead of clean as a whistle, why don't you say clean as a Griffey?
That sounds good. Here's your man, Brad Thompson. Here's your scouting report, Cowboy.
Well, Thompson is another guy who has got to throw strikes early in the ball game, and that is a direct reflection of his pitch count. And his slider is his big pitch. If he can get that over the plate and make the Reds swing at that pitch early in the ball game, it's going to give him a lot more confidence as he stretches towards the end of the ball game. And probably the biggest thing for this kid is to continue to pound the strike zone and keep the ball over the plate.
Big, tall drink of water, 6'7", 228 pounds, still only 25 years of age. Hatteberg steps in. Lefties this year have hit 285 against him. Righties have hit over 300 against him. Hatteberg in his career 4 for 5 and a homer against this young righty.
I'd say he's seeing it quite well out of the right-hander's hand.
That's a bouncer, and right past Kennedy for a base hit. So Hatteberg's on at first. Albert Pujols is down there. Pujols, a Gold Glove winner last year. He's been solid defensively ever since coming up. Boys, he worked on his D. Here's your Ford defensive alignment. Kennedy, Miles, Roland, the rest of the infield. Yadi Molina, first start since being activated yesterday off the disabled list with a broken wrist. Duncan, Taguchi, and Encarnacion in the outfield. That is your Ford defensive alignment. From the stretch, the big right-hander.
And George, you saw that myriad of pictures of different names that were on that defensive list. Not that those guys were painted in as starters or penciled in as starters at the beginning of the year by general manager Walt Jocketty, but he did know that there is a point in time where you've got to fill different positions. A guy like Aaron Miles, a guy like Kennedy, a guy like Duncan in right field, and a guy like Encarnacion. The ability to play different positions in this game at this level is huge, especially for a team like the Cardinals with guys like Jim Edmonds and some of the others coming along.
And it's a good way to stay for a while in the major leagues. The more positions you can play, the more you can help your team, and that's the way the Cardinals have gotten it done. Down to third, Roland gets one at second, and that's all. So it's a 5-4 fielder's choice. Phillips is on. Hatteberg retired at second. So Brandon on at first. Now the running game becomes more of a factor with Hatteberg on. Not much of a chance of the running game working with Brandon Phillips on, who's stolen 15, been caught 4 times. I remember 2 of the best throwing catchers in the game going at each other here. Molina off the DL. He's brilliant. 57% he's thrown out this year. And David Ross for the Reds has tossed out 49%. There's Junior. In at 290 overall with 21 homers. And Jeff Brantley, you've seen him a lot over the years. Is this the best you've seen him as a Red?
Oh, by far, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he's not playing a taxing position defensively. He's playing right field. He doesn't have to cover so much ground out there. And the thing about Junior that I've noticed is that his legs have stayed up underneath him, even though that one stretch where he played almost 42 ball games in a row and really needed a day off back around the 28th day and couldn't take it because of Josh Hamilton getting sick and Ryan Freel having his issue. But Junior has kept his legs underneath him. His shoulders look strong. He's actually lost some weight.
Just getting the hand back in is Phillips. Good quick move.
And I think that's what Brandon Phillips wants to have happen when he takes first base. He wants to draw a throw from the pitcher so he can see what type of move that they have, so he knows how far of a lead that he can get off of first base.
1 ball, 1 strike. Phillips not going. Griffey in the air down the right field line. It'll curve way foul into the seats. And 1 ball and 2 strikes. Junior 319 over his last 2.5 weeks. And he's hit 9 of his 21 homers in the last 2.5 weeks. He just has been right on.
The thing that I've noticed with Junior is that as he has aged and now that he's gotten to play a lot more this season than in seasons past, his hips and his hands and his hand-eye coordination are all working together, and that in itself is dangerous.
And healthy legs have led to that coordination. When he's right and his legs are healthy, the swing just comes together, and that's what we're seeing.
Well, he's always had phenomenal hips, and that's really a big part of driving the baseball. His hands take him there, and his eyes decide whether the ball is a hittable ball or not a hittable ball. But his legs, as you said, George, that's where his power comes from.
2 balls, 2 strikes. They'll toss over to first again.
And they can put all the shifts on that you can make up known to man, and it's not always going to work. You were talking about Thompson's pickoff move. He's got a couple of pickoffs in his career. He's got 1 this year.
Oh boy. Phillips had gone a third of the way, slammed on the brakes, and Thompson's upset at himself. All he had to do was step off, and Phillips would have been a dead duck, but he never did. He delivered to the plate, and it gave Phillips a chance to get back. Brain cramp by the pitcher and by the runner, Phillips, but the Reds get a break.
Well, you can see the walking lead by Phillips, and that's what he's trying to do by taking those short, choppy steps, is time the move of Brad Thompson as he delivers to home plate.
3-2. There goes the runner. Slap foul by Griffey. And you've been on the mound, Cowboy. For a young pitcher, a veteran, nothing phases you. But a young pitcher, you know that Pujols is yelling to him, and you know that he sees the runner. The one thing you don't want to do is balk.
Well, the big key there when you don't have Pujols standing at first base is you just hold the baseball. There's nothing wrong. Nothing can happen until you as the pitcher deliver the ball to home plate or to first base. You just sit there and hold it. That kills good base runners.
3-2 again with 1 out. Phillips going. That's wide, ball 4. So 2 on, 1 out, and here comes Dunn.
And that is exactly what Brandon Phillips wants to do for Ken Griffey Jr. Create so much havoc on the base paths that it gets into the head of the young pitcher Brad Thompson, and he can't get the ball into the strike zone or to the place that he wants to get it to.
There are teams in situations, you talk about Barry Bonds in San Francisco, where he does not like people running from first. He doesn't like people moving off the bag or stealing.
Right.
Griffey's been one that never let it bother him. Everybody's different. 2 on, 1 out. Here's Dunn. 23 homers now. 54 knocked in. 4, 6. Not in time at first. Dunn just beats it to first, and it'll be first and third for the Reds.
And that would have put Dunn in double figures on the double play chart had they been able to turn it. He's hit into 9 double plays, but believe it or not, Dunn doesn't hit this ball hard enough for it to be able to be turned. And his battery mate running at third base has hit into 11, and that's Brandon Phillips.
So it'll be first and third, 2 away, and here comes Edwin. Well, 2 games ago, Dunn did exactly the same thing bounced one down to second in the first inning when the Reds had the bases loaded, nobody out. They got one run out of the inning. Once he got up and hit a sacrifice fly. The next time he got up, he bounced into a double play. And then the second time he got up, boom, a homer. So let's see what he does second time up tonight. Loop to the right side. Kennedy there. The Reds will strand a pair in the first. Hit and the walk, nothing to show for it. We're going to the second. Scott Rowland will lead it off. Time for an Elk and Elk Storylines update brought to you by Elk and Elk. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Jerry Narron trying to shrug off a 3-6 road trip, hoping for a good starting performance from you-know-who. Bronson Arroyo looking for a W, trying to end a 7-game losing streak. Your Elk and Elk Storyline updates brought to you by Elk and Elk. Call 1-888-ELK, Ohio. Here's Scott Rowland. We just left Philadelphia, where one of the best complete players in the game patrols second base, and Chase Utley, and this guy is one of the most complete players at third. Rowland, Gold Glove winner multiple times. 7 times he's won a Gold Glove. Offensively, he's brilliant as well. 5 times an All-Star in his own right. He's had his share of injury problems this year too. Finally, after almost 2.5 years, his shoulder is back, but he's had a nagging foot injury this week. He's had other bangs and bruises, but Cowboy, he still shows up in the lineup almost every day.
Well, the reason that you and I both love watching Scott Rowland is the fact that he comes to beat you every single day, and those are the types of players that you pay to come and watch play. You want to see a guy that puts on a helmet of competitiveness, and he takes it out onto the field, and whatever he's got for that given day, you're going to get every single ounce of it. And if that means he's hurt, well, he's going to play hurt.
That's ball 4. That's what the fans want. That's what the manager wants too. Arroyo's first walk. Rowland 7 for 21, 333, and a homer against that guy, number 27, coming into tonight.
And the thing about it, George, is Rowland may not be fully healthy, but the opposition doesn't know exactly how healthy he is. And you just saw 4 pitches that were out of the strike zone because his reputation precedes him. And that's the fact that he can hit the ball out of any ballpark.
So Rowland walks, and here's Juan Encarnacion. Taguchi's had an 18-game hitting streak. So is this former Red. Encarnacion played with the Reds out in right field. He's playing with the Cardinals in right field now. In a .264, 5 homers, 20 knocked in. He started the year on injury rehab after his offseason surgery on his wrist and hand, and he still says he's not 100%. A supreme talent trying to put it all together.
And that's where you want the fastball if you're Bronson Arroyo. And for David Ross behind home plate, the Reds catcher, if Arroyo is not coming to him with every ounce of his body, and that means pushing off towards home plate, and if he's falling off to the third base side, Ross has got to go out and tell him about it.
That's past Encarnacion down the third base line. Rowland steams around second. He's going to steam around third, coming to the plate. The throw won't be in time, and the Cardinals lead it 1-0. That rolled right down the line into the nook and cranny of that left field corner. Dunn had to go all the way into the corner, dig it out, and Rowland scores to make it 1-0 St. Louis.
Well, this is definitely one of those ball clubs that St. Louis Cardinals, they do their homework, and they know that Dunn is not fleet of foot. He does not have a great arm in left field, and if the ball gets into the corner, they're going to take an extra base on him every single time.
Rowland rolls around third. The third base coach, Jose Akindo's waving him all the way. Never stop waving him. Akindo's down at third in the coach's box, the former super utility man for the Cardinals. And in the first base coach's box, as usual, Dave McKay for Tony La Russa and the Redbirds. Here's Molina, first at bat after coming off the disabled list. He was activated yesterday, but they never did get the play. Fly ball to right. Encarnacion tagging. Here's Junior. Junior's throw coming all the way in. It won't be in time, and Encarnacion's in there. Junior made it close, but Molina, we talked a lot about it over the road trip. Not just base hits, but productive outs. And for Molina, that's a productive out. You get the runner to third. It's the first out of the inning. And now you got a whole different bunch of ways you can get him home.
Well, regardless of how you got to second base, there's still no outs and you're standing at second. That's just as good and goes along the same lines as what we talk about, hitting the ball to the right side to move the runner to third. He hits a sacrifice fly to right field and moves Encarnacion to third.
And that brings the infield in for the Reds for Adam Kennedy.
George, you go back to watching Roland rounding third base. He never let up. He made the third base coach Akindo stop him if he was going to be stopped.
Strike one, fouled off 0-2. Hey, tonight's lucky contestant in the GMC Acadia $1 Million Sweepstakes is Douglas Gibson, and the third batter on either team hits for the cycle. Douglas will win $1 million. Plus, Douglas was also registered for a chance to win an all-new 2007 GMC Acadia, courtesy of your tri-state GMC dealers. Stay tuned to see who our winner is. Popped up left side. Tag in is Encarnacion, and he's going nowhere.
God, that was a good play.
Nice effort. First step, big break. Remember, Gonzalez was right on the grass when he started to go after this, and this wasn't hit very high in the air either.
That looks like those passes that your dad throws you when you're 10 years old to try to learn how to catch the ball over the shoulder, and that's exactly what Gonzalez had to do there. Had a long run to make and still caught the ball over his shoulder like a football catch.
So now a chance to get out of the inning for Bronson. Big breaking ball to Thompson. Brad's in at 100 for the season, 10 at bats and 1 base hit. Waves at that. 0-2.
And that's the kind of breaking ball that you like to see from Arroyo. Short and quick in the late break, but you can only get that with the fastball mixed in.
And show no mercy to the pitcher with a runner on third here.
Exactly.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Encarnacion off third. Got him. But a leadoff walk. How many times do you see it? Comes back to haunt Bronson. Double by Encarnacion. Cardinals lead at 1-0. Here are the big guys coming up, starting with Josh Hamilton. Hey, family fun and fireworks at Great American Ballpark. Get a jump on the holiday celebration with a special fireworks night on Tuesday, presented by Beacon Electrical Contractors. The explosions are set to begin 15 minutes after the Reds finish up with the Giants. So don't miss the up close and personal Beacon Electrical Contractors fireworks show on Tuesday. See you there. See you at the ballpark. I mean, who better to have a fireworks show than electrical contractors, right? Let's hope that's the only fireworks that the Giants bring to town. Barry Bonds and company coming to town. Here's Josh Hamilton facing Thompson. He's 1 for 2 against him in their brief meetings. Alex Gonzalez and David Ross to follow.
Did you see that picture up there of Josh with the mustache?
It looks
that's outstanding.
Outstanding. It's on the scoreboard we're talking about. There's a fly ball into the seats down the left field line. There it is.
How do you like me now?
He looks like Jay Bell, doesn't he? Maybe Gene Tennis. He looks like Gino.
They have to save that one for his locker.
We had a chance to see Gene Tennis down in the winter at the Portsmouth, Ohio banquet, honoring the Portsmouth murals. If you ever get a chance to head down there, do. Boy, it is something else. It's murals in Portsmouth are not just artistic, but they're majestic. Gene Tennis, one who's been honored over the years. This year they honored Donnie Gullett, going into their wall of fame. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Change up out in front. Whoa, strikeout number 1 for Thompson. That was a dandy.
And that's the part I think that if Brad Thompson grasped that early in his career, and he's still working on learning the pitching concept and adding and subtracting, and a lot of what he's learned coming up has been locating on the inside and the outside. When he learns how to add and subtract with a changeup and a fastball, look out.
And that's a pitch that he really can't use out of the bullpen, and he spent most of his time in the bullpen this year, but he's been able to use as a starter, and that was a dandy tonight. Here's Alex Gonzalez at 258, 13 homers and 38 knocked in on the season. Down to third, backhanded by the Gold Glover, and like a radar shot across the infield, 2 away. And don't forget, the best sports show period is coming up, and tonight it's the 50 memorable moments of June. The best sports show period revisits the best moments in sports during the past month. What is your favorite moment rank? Find out on the best sports show period tonight at 11, only on FSN. I saw one of mine this weekend, and I saw another one last night. Craig Biggio getting career hit number 3,000. You competed against him for a lot of years, and great to see him become the 27th to get to 3,000. And boy, did he do it in fine fashion. 4 for 5 last night.
I didn't mind facing Biggio. I just didn't like the guy that was behind him. Bagwell.
And you know, it was great last night. He pulled Bagwell out to come out and get an ovation with him, and afterwards at the news conference, Ross nubs it down to third. Rolen has it. Ross retired, so are the Reds. They went quickly. More about Biggio and more about milestones coming up. The Reds go quickly 1-2-3 when we return. Top of the order for the Redbirds.
Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
A run, 2 hits for the Cardinals, no runs and a hit for the Reds. Tony La Russa, what a great career. He's the all-star manager July the 10th in San Francisco. He's got a 3-1 record in all-star games, and you know, none of us know who's on the all-star team, but he knows. He won't tell anybody yet. The manager, Jimmy Leland, and Tony La Russa, 2 close friends, they were notified today who has been voted in by the fans. There's still 2 more components. The players' vote will be added in. Ken Griffey Jr. at the last tabulation was number 2 among National League outfielders. He figures to be voted in. Barry Bonds was number 4 in the last tabulation. Here's the 1-1 delivery. That's wide to Taguchi, who flied to center first time up. And then the manager, it used to be the managers really picked it on their own. Now really the commissioner's office and the manager combined for the final slots. There's a bouncer down to second. Phillips has it. Flips it to Hatterberg, and there's 1 away. So Taguchi's 0 for 2, and here's Aaron Miles, who flied out in the first. Bronson Arroyo gave up a base hit in the first, got out of it, walked Rolen to lead off the second, and then Encarnacion's double plated Rolen. That's the run that the Cardinals have. Talking to Joe Torre, the Yankee manager, who just by the fact the Yankees, you know, been so strong in recent years. There's a bouncer wide of first, and Miles has a base hit. He's 1 for 2. I asked him, you know, what are the most nerve-wracking times for you? And he said, you know, I said, you know, is it the World Series? Is it the ALCS? He said the ALCS against the Red Sox is always big, because that's like it's the Hatfield and the McCoys. Every time you play the Red Sox, it's a war. He said, but for him in the old days, it was picking the all-star team, because you know, who are you going to leave off, who are you going to let on? There's always going to be somebody that's going to complain.
And you take some major abuse when
Sure.
you leave one of the Red Sox off.
Yep. Here's Albert, singled his first time up. Popped up, heading to the seats. It'll be out of play. He did not win the MVP award last year. We just left Philadelphia, where Ryan Howard was the winner last year. He finished second to Howard. The year before, Howard was the Rookie of the Year. This guy every year is going to be 1, 2, or 3 in the balloting. He got off to a rough start this year, but here he is at the end of June, right back where you'd expect him to be. 298, 16 homers, 48 knocked in. Last year he wound up with 49 home runs, even though he spent a stint on the disabled list with that pull side muscle. And even more remarkable, 49 homers, only 50 strikeouts.
What I would be curious to see is if Bonds was not voted in this original vote, and it was up to the coaches and all the powers to be to pick him to play on the team, if he was put in that internet voting thing that's at the very end of the All-Star deal, would America vote him into the All-Star game? I would be curious. I don't know that it would ever get to that point.
Great point.
But I would be curious to see.
Interesting point.
As if America would actually vote him in.
I think everybody in the baseball hierarchy was hoping fans would vote him in, which takes everybody off the hook. Because once he isn't voted in, and if the players don't vote him in, it becomes a.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, this is America's game. It has been pretty much pronounced to that way, that the All-Star game is all about the fans.
Pull holds to right. Griffey, front of the warning track. He's got it. Out number 2. Here's the way Arroyo went after Albert in this at bat.
Well, Arroyo is definitely trying to get ahead of Pujols and then make him chase outside of the zone. You can see the first pitch fastball, then two pitches off the plate. That breaking ball was an attack pitch, but then at 3-1 he goes with another fastball. Pujols is thinking that this is one he can drive. It's off the plate. He expands his zone and can't get to the baseball.
So Albert's retired, and here's Duncan, who flied to right first time up. Duncan just missed one. He hit it a ton, but straight up in the air. 14 homers for this his sophomore season. Last year he had 22 as a rookie. That's second only Pujols' 37 in Cardinal rookie annals.
And there's something to be said about playing left field and trying to learn how to hit here in the big leagues all at the same time. Because at one point in time, George, you know how tough it was for him in left field. Even in fan-friendly St. Louis, even with his dad on the coaching staff, it was tough for him. I mean, learning that position was highly difficult.
Here's the 1-1. Some kids that you look at and you watch them go through the minors and you watch them make the transition. No matter who they're playing for, you root for. This is one of those kids. He just works harder than 90% of those that are wearing major league uniforms. He's worked so hard to become an adequate outfielder. Breaking ball in there, says the home plate umpire Jimmy Wolf. Wolf behind the plate. Rob Drake at first. Tim Tashita, the Minnesota native, at second, and Jimmy Joyce down at third.
To do what Chris Duncan has done at this level with his dad on the coaching staff, I would say that says a lot for his mentality. He has worked hard at it.
Gonzalez has that off the bag, but nice job by Hatterberg to slap the tag down on the 6-3 putout. Base hit for Miles, nothing to show for it. Reds go back to work. Arroyo leads it off 1-0 St. Louis. A turn of double play as Reach Magazine and the Reds offer families 2 memorable days at the ballpark on Wednesday, and then this coming Sunday, July the 8th. Families have the opportunity to purchase non-premium tickets at a super saver price in advance of game day. When a family member purchases a full price ticket, make your own special memories July 4th and the 8th thanks to Reach Magazine. Get your super saver tickets by visiting the Reds ticket window. Select Meyer stores or Reds.com. Bouncer down to third. Roland has it. Like poetry in motion the way he feels it, isn't it?
George he's 33 years old. He's won 7 Gold Gloves, but I think the thing that he takes pride in more than anything else is he's never taken the easy way out regardless of the injuries that he's had, and that's Scott Rowland we're talking about. He is as fundamentally correct as any player that is on this field or that plays the game that we know it, and that's baseball.
Originally drafted by the Phillies, and Jasper, Indiana native, was a brilliant high school basketball player and could have gone either way as a college player or as a pro. A lot of folks thought he had pro potential as a hoopster. Here's Hatterberg, singled his first time up.
Flat-footed, can jump and slam dunk the basketball.
And like they say, a good shot starts in your feet, not in your hands. I mean, and he's got great feet. Same story with his defense. You talk about how you get set, what your footwork is, and there's nobody more precise than Roland down at third. 7 Gold Gloves don't lie. Hatterberg single to right. There's a shot towards right. Over is Encarnacion. He won't get there. One hop off the wall. Hatterberg steaming into second. He'll have his 13th double of the year. Boy, he has been hot the last couple of days. 2 more hits today. The average now over 300. He came in at 293. That hit will get him over 300.
How many ABs do you have to have before you can say I own this guy? Well, what is that now? 5 for 6?
6 for 7.
6 for 7.
Not bad, huh?
Goodness.
You remember those guys that were like that against you?
I try to forget about them at nighttime.
You were talking about Biggio and Bagwell.
Bagwell crushed me.
How about Biggio?
I got Biggio out.
How many times you think?
Pretty good bit, I'd say. 240 maybe.
Yeah, 174 Biggio hit against you. Daddy Wags, went to the record book, tracked it down. Biggio was 4 for 23, 174 against you.
You better get a big calculator for Bagwell because it goes way up there.
You're right. Here's a strike 1 to Phillips. Pretty good to left. Going back is Duncan at the wall. It is caught.
And did you see what Duncan did on that play? He found the wall with his right hand, his throwing hand, and was able to use the wall as leverage to jump up and catch the baseball and still know where the runner Hatterberg was on the play.
Looking.
It sounds simple, but it isn't.
Brandon Phillips gave it a ride, looking for his 15th homer, a little short. That's your second out of the inning, and here comes Junior, who will walk first time up. Brad Thompson, meanwhile, in this ballpark knows, yep, thank you very much. Chris Duncan. No balls, 1 strike. Duncan hauls it in at the wall. Junior, 21 homers on the year and 21 in his career against the Cardinals. Now, how many homers do you think Bagwell hit off you?
5.
No, you were too kind. 3 homers, 11 knocked in. He was 8 for 20, a 400 average.
One of them was 0-2, so that counts as 2.
You never forget that, do you?
I don't forget about that.
Off the end of the bat, Taguchi starts back, now comes in. Will anybody get there? Encarnacion bails him out. Taguchi started back, and Encarnacion never quit on it. So Junior's retired. The Reds, even with the double by Hatterberg, don't get it done in the 3rd. They still trail it 1-0 as we head to the 4th. Cincinnati Reds baseball being brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. By Rico, move your ideas forward with Rico dependability. By Advance Auto Parts, ramp up your ride with everything from performance parts to cool custom accessories at Advance Auto Parts. And by your local Jeep dealers. Go everywhere, do everything in a beep beep Jeep. Here's Scott Rowland. He walked in the 2nd and scored on the double by Juan Encarnacion. You almost had the feeling, knowing that Rowland was 333 and a homer against Bronson, that he was selectively pitching to Rowland first time up. As it turned out, I think he thought he could get Encarnacion. Juan got him this time, though. But the one thing we've seen from Bronson, you talk a lot about Greg Maddux, and selective walks sometimes are placed in strategic points, and we've seen Bronson do that a lot. This year, he hasn't gotten away with it as much as he did last year.
Well, and that happens sometimes, but you, in the back of your mind as a pitcher, you know the guys who own you.
3-1, center field. Josh Hamilton there. 1 away, and here comes Encarnacion, who's double plated the run in the 2nd. Hey, Sunday, get an inside look at the NHL draft like never before. experience the closed-door meetings with players and personnel, see all the anticipation leading up to the Blue Jackets' pivotal first-round pick. Get your all-access pass to the people and places behind the 2007 NHL Draft Sunday at 7 on FSN. Ohio. Selectees into the Hockey Hall of Fame announced this week too. Congratulations to Mark Messier. Well, you talk about leaders. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody who's more of a leader than him. Center field, Hamilton there again, and Ronnie Francis. I had a chance to do games when Ronnie Francis was a member of the Whalers. First-class person. Congratulations to those who go into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Here's Yadi Molina, and here comes your Aflac trivia question.
Aflac!
The Ohio River's cool tonight. Who are the last two players to lead the National League in runs scored for 3 straight seasons?
Wow.
The last two players to lead the National League in runs scored for 3 straight seasons. Here's Molina, fly ball out, his first time up. Cardinals have lost a lot of people due to injuries. I don't know that anyone was a greater loss than this guy. Not only does he throw out 57% of the runners who try to steal, but he runs the pitching staff. And Cowboy, you've been a pitcher in the Cardinal organization. Nobody is more exacting the way they want to run a game than Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa. You need Molina behind there to do that.
Well, and that's part of the reason that he's playing in this ball game and not having to go down on rehab or do all of those things that you would normally see happen. They want his brain behind home plate, and the hitting will come, and that's the way they look at it.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Molina. Pop back and out of play. One of the 3 catching Molina brothers, one of the 4 Molinas in the major leagues this year. And when all is said and done, this guy will probably be the best of them. Swing and a miss. A 1-2-3 for Bronson, his first clean inning of the night. Reds trail by 1. When we return, Adam Dunn with 23 homers on the season will lead it off. Hey, the Reds pleased to announce free admission to the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum to commemorate Pete's streak now through July 31st. Admission free to the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum on game days with same-day ticket in '78, June the 14th through the 31st. That was a string of Pete Rose's 44-game hitting streak, second longest in baseball history. You can celebrate it by getting free admission to the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum. For more info, visit Reds.com or call 513-765-7923. It's a great exhibit. Hope you get a chance to see it. Right center field, here's Taguchi. Dunn is retired. 1 away, and here comes Edwin Encarnacion.
Taguchi made a little bit of an adjustment on his break towards that ball, basically in the same place that Junior's was back to in the 3rd inning, and he broke way back on Junior on that ball. He froze for a second before he took off.
Down to 3rd, but foul by Edwin. Edwin popped out to end the Reds' threat in the 1st. Against Thompson, he's now 1 for 7 in his career. Brad came up 2 years ago in 2005, gave the Cardinals a big shot on the arm late in the year. It was 4-0. Working predominantly out of the bullpen.
And this is the reason why you see that pitch going straight down. It allows Molina to call for a pitch away, and he knows the pitch is not going to run back over the heart of the plate. It's going to go down, and it's got depth to it. That gets you a ground ball in a hurry.
One ball, 2 strikes. You never go wrong with a sinker, do you?
Well, as long as you throw it right and the ball goes down. A sinker is supposed to go down. A sinker is not supposed to run back across the plate. That's a flat sinker. That's a home run.
Rip past Mark Berry, foul down the 3rd base line.
You can see this pitch run way in on the hands of Encarnacion, and that's not the perfect sinker, but the ball did have a lot of run to it, and Encarnacion opens his hips and pulls it foul. Now the best thing to throw is a slider down and away and see you later.
There's your base hit.
A good job of hitting.
Nice job. Encarnacion gets his first hit. 1 out, 1 on. Here comes Josh Hamilton. George Grant along with Jeff Brantley. Chris Welsh off tonight. Chris is probably home by the grill. And by the way, Grill Masters, add some thrill to your grill this summer with JTM's new jalapeno pepper jack and garlic and onion burgers. Look for them in their brand new bags. JTM, more of what you're hungry for. Chris got a good night to grill out tonight. Job of hitting.
That was a great job of hitting by Encarnacion. It was set up well, and he still stayed with his game plan, Encarnacion, and hit that ball right back up the box.
So Edwin's on, and here's Josh. Hamilton struck out in the second inning. No one has more write-in votes as of last week's tabulation than this guy for the All-Star game. 91,000.
I think that'll help him.
Doubtful.
Probably
not to make the All-Star team, but that doesn't in any way diminish the season that he's having. Miles scoops, throws to first. They'll get Hamilton. Second out of the inning. Encarnacion goes to second. Here comes Alex Gonzalez. Comes your Aflac trivia question answer for tonight. Who are the last 2 players to lead the National League in runs scored for not 1, not 2, but 3 straight seasons? Pete, great leadoff hitter. Wherever you put him, he produced. And Albert, 2 different kinds of contributors, but 2 guys who were as much of an offensive force as anybody during their generation.
That surprises me, run scored. Pete, I would believe. Albert, that's strong.
And remember, that was part of the strength of this Cardinal lineup too. You had Edmonds, you had Rowland hitting in front and behind, and so Albert takes a lot of the credit, yes, for the numbers that he put up, but also it was a pretty complete lineup.
That just shows you how much Albert learned to run the bases in a hurry.
Strike 1 to Alex Gonzalez. Grounded out to third, first time up.
Thompson hasn't been out on the starting pitcher's mound in a while. He's pitched out of the bullpen his last couple of times out, but today he seems to be making some adjustments on the fly, especially with the breaking ball and the changeup and that sinker that we saw back to back as we were watching Encarnacion hit.
Predominantly a starter all through the minors. He whirls and fires to second, but Edwin is back.
And that's the great part of television, George, is that you can chronicle or sequence an at-bat or a player's accomplishments from inning to inning or from pitch to pitch, and we'll try to do that some with Albert Pujols as well as with some of our guys, the Reds guys, as they come to the plate.
1-1, swing and a miss, 1 and 2. That's something that fortunately now you can do it for fans at home, and as a pitcher, Cowboy, I mean, for years you've been able to do that down in the bowels of the stadiums, and nobody has a more exacting science than the Cardinals have in terms of using video in a productive way.
Unbelievable. They were one of the first ones that I had ever seen it used in the way that they did and break it down the way that they do.
Miles stumbles. He won't have a play. It'll be first and third. Aaron Miles in for David Eckstein, who's on the disabled list with a bad back. Got a glove on it, but once he hit the turf, there's no way he's going to be able to make a play on Gonzalez.
And these are 2 breaking balls that we've seen that are pretty good breaking balls down in the strike zone. And look where this pitch is, and Gonzalez goes out there and gets it. And the whole issue is where this ball is. It's right there on the plate instead of off the plate, which is where Molina wanted it. Same thing goes back and was true on the pitch to Encarnacion that he hit back up the middle. If a catcher wants the ball off the plate, you've got to start it on the plate and get it off. Don't leave it on the plate.
That'll go as an infield hit for Gonzalez, so it's 2 on, 2 out, and let's see if the Reds can take advantage of it. Here comes David Ross.
And I think that's part of why Molina went out there. He's telling him, look, if I set up off the plate, that means I want the breaking ball out there, not to my left. I want it to my right.
First and third, Gonzalez off first, Encarnacion off third. Hit on the button to center, but right at the center field, Taguchi. So the Reds strand a pair here in the fourth. They've stranded 5 through 4, trailing 1-0. Adam Kennedy will lead it off when we return. Cincinnati Reds baseball being brought to you by your local Ford store. Ford, bold moves. By State Farm, great service, great rates. It's all here. Nobody takes care of you like State Farm. By JTM, more of what you're hungry for. And by your local Honda dealers. Visit myCincinnatiHondaDealer.com for your best Honda buy. Pleasant night for baseball here in Cincinnati. The Cardinals lead the Reds 1-0 as we go to the top of inning number 5. Kennedy in the 8th spot, Thompson the pitcher, and then the top of the order, Taguchi due up facing Bronson Arroyo. Arroyo allowed a hit to Pujols in the first, no harm. Walk to Rolen, and a double by Encarnacion produced a run for the Cardinals in the second. He allowed a base hit to Miles in the third, and then had a 1-2-3 fourth. Bronson takes care of this, and there's one away. Kennedy retired.
A few more changeups we're seeing from Bronson Arroyo tonight, and that was the pitch that he got out Albert Pujols on earlier, was a changeup, and then he gets Adam Kennedy there on a first pitch changeup.
He talked a lot about it when he first came up in Pittsburgh, and then really changed his approach when he was in Boston. And I think a lot of that had to do with just watching Pedro Martinez in Boston, because Pedro changed his approach too. Pedro was a power pitcher, and all of a sudden Pedro started to pitch backwards, and Bronson started to pitch backwards. That's what he brought to the league last year. Is the league catching up to him this year, or is it more a lack of execution on his part?
I think he's fallen in love with the breaking ball and hasn't thrown enough fastballs. I think that's as simple as it gets. And I said got out Pujols on a changeup. I meant Rolen on the changeup because he's given him so much problems.
Fouled off, 1 ball, 2 strikes to Thompson, who became Arroyo's first strikeout victim. Bronson has 2 strikeouts through the first 4 and the third.
The thing about throwing your fastball, George, is it allows your arm to continue to lengthen and extend, and that's what makes your breaking ball even that much better. Look at that pitch right there.
Like a frisbee.
But if you don't throw your fastball, all of a sudden your arm starts to creep back into your shoulder, almost like a rubber band would. It starts to come back to normal size, and you don't want it to do that. You want it to stay stretched out, because that's when you get the greatest whip and the greatest action at the end of the follow through.
2 away. Here's Taguchi, who's 0 for 2, and that brings up an interesting point. We live in an era today where nutrition and weight training has become so much a part of professional sports, and the old-time pitching coaches that I was around, the ones I learned from early in my career, always believed that the best weight training you can do is to throw, not to lift weights. Now, do you cut down on that whip-like action? Do you cut down on that extension when you lift weights, or can you use weights in a productive way?
Oh yeah, I think that those two things go hand in hand. A long toss program as well as a weight program is as good as it gets. Every bit of scientific information over the years that we pour into the baseball world are all for the benefit of the player, position player, pitcher, whatever, but some of it can be used in the wrong way. You know, fire is a good thing, but you don't put your hand on it.
There's a grounder to short. Don't mess with fire. Hey, we're talking baseball today, but Ohio State football's coming up, and a whole lot more. When we return, we'll tell you more after this.
I am Jeff McCord, and I'm with a couple lucky people. Why? Well, they won Indians Reds in and prize winner from Hamilton, Ohio, and that's Edward Yorty. Edward, congratulations. You, my friend, won a pretty big trip to San Francisco to the All-Star game. Are you excited?
When they called me and It was just, I was so excited.
Have you ever been to San Francisco before?
Haven't been out west yet.
Really?
Yeah, first time.
So it's going to be your first trip out west, and you win a trip to see the All-Star game. Now, all right, you're a Reds fan, so you're hoping that Ken Griffey Jr. Gets voted in, right?
Yeah, he will be.
He will. Well, he's second, so
he'll be
I think he's in there.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else? Who's your favorite player?
Let's say David Ortiz.
All right, well, you're probably going to get to see him, too. David Ortiz, big pop. All right, now let's move over to our first place winner, and that's Tony Hemmert. She is from Salina. I said it right, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
All right, and Tony, you, my friend, have a very nice prize. You win season tickets next season to the Reds. You excited about that?
Yes, I am.
Now, are you a big Reds fan or an Indians fan? What was it?
Reds.
Reds all the way.
Since I've been little.
Really? Got a favorite player?
Nah, they get rid of all the ones I like, so.
Okay, so it doesn't matter. You're just happy you won the season tickets and you're going to be here.
I like them all.
Well, congratulations to both of you. You guys are big-time winners. And for all you people out there, there is still 2 more drawings to go. So we still could have some big-time winners, and hopefully we'll have them out here when they win. All right, let's go back upstairs to George and Jeff. Fellas?
Thanks, Vic. Good job out there on the concourse along the right field line, and congratulations. Arroyo strikes out. Here's Hatterberg, 2 for 2, single and a double, his 13th double of the year. Breaking ball misses by Thompson. 2 balls and no strikes. Now, of all the all-star locations, not much one you can't say there's any nicer than San Francisco. What a
Beautiful.
I mean, the ballpark is magnificent. The look from right field in the upper deck out towards the bay and down to the city is just spectacular.
Well, what they've done not only with that part of the city, but also with the ballpark and everything that's transcended has just been phenomenal. Just, I don't even know how to bring up an adjective to say how well of a job that all of the people have done in that area to make it such a great place, not only to watch baseball, but just a happening place.
When you came up with the Giants, you were at Candlestick.
Right.
It's a whole different world from there, isn't it?
Yeah, I would not put Candlestick and the new ballpark in the same sentence unless I just was forced to do that.
Or you were from Alaska and you were looking for
Exactly.
similar weather.
Right. The football players could never understand why we wore heavy parkas to the game in the middle of the summer.
November was beautiful there.
I know.
Liner to left, Duncan over, got it. 2 away. Hatterberg retired, and here comes Brandon Phillips. Brandon on this road trip celebrated a birthday, and by the way, we want to say a very happy birthday tonight to Dick DeWine, and some get well wishes to Mike DeWine's dad. We hope you're feeling better, Dick. We hope you're back at the ballpark watching the Reds soon too. Happy birthday on this night. Get well to Dick DeWine, and happy birthday to Brandon Phillips. I tell you talk about good seasons and the way to start out. This guy is all-star caliber with the first half he's had, Cowboy.
He comes to the park to beat you, and I like that a lot.
Rolling across the infield, and the Cardinals and Brad Thompson are rolling. They lead it 1-0 heading to the 6th. Back at Cincinnati, let's check your Honda standings update coming into tonight. In the Central Division, the Reds 16 games back, the Cardinals 10 games back. The Brew Crew with a 6.5 game lead over the Chicago Cubs. Already completed today. The Mets beat the Phillies 6-5 in the first of their day-night doubleheader. The Mets lead the Phillies 2-1 in the 4th inning of the second game of that double dip. Cubs were winners today over the Brew Crew, the final 6-5.
And I believe that the St. Louis Cardinals have no doubt in their mind that they can still win this division, even at 10 games back.
Believe in yourself, believe in your team. Miles bounces out, the 4-3 put out, 1 away. Here comes Albert Pujols. I remember sitting with Tony La Russa last September, and La Russa and Hal McRae, his hitting coach, were in his office, and I asked him, I said, do you have enough to win? And he shook his head. I said, I don't know. You never know. But certainly this isn't as strong a team as we've had of late. And I looked at Hal McRae. I said, Hal, tell him a story about 1985. And he smiled. And Hal McRae could tell a story as good as anybody, because in '85, the Kansas City Royals were struggling. They just eked in to win the divisional title. They go to the playoffs, win the first round of the playoffs. They beat Toronto. In fact, they trailed 2-0. Had it been a best-of-3 the way it was the year before, they would have been eliminated. But they beat Toronto. Then they win the championship series. And then, of course, they had the Don Denkinger call during the World Series. And here they were, from just eking into the playoffs, they won the World Series. That was '85 for the Kansas City Royals. And Hal McRae's got a World Series ring to prove it.
After Boston came back and beat the Yankees 3 games in a row, and the rest of it was history after that, I'm never saying it's over until it's mathematically over. And that means mathematically +1. Just in case somebody made a mistake.
You're not kidding. Here's Pujols, right center. That'll bounce twice and hit the wall. Albert, a 1-out 2-base hit for Pujols' 16th double of the season.
It doesn't matter how difficult you make things on Albert Pujols, he will make them that much more difficult on you. A sinker down in the strike zone, fastball to get the count even. He goes backward away with a fastball, and this pitch is about as good of a pitcher's pitch as you can make. Comes up in the strike zone with the only breaking ball of the at bat that Pujols hits, and where does it go? All the way to the wall in right center field.
So Pujols in scoring position for Duncan, who's 0 for 2. Albert's 2 for 3. And we talked earlier about the use of video. Now, it used to be that if you were a pitcher or if you were a hitter, you'd go back to the video room and look at video after a game, before a game. Albert Pujols, and the guy who runs the video system for the Cardinals, Chad Blair, he'll go back from at bat to at bat, take a look at his at bat, compile the swings that he had, not just tonight, but the last 3 or 4 times, and adjust. There's an adjustment from his first at bat.
Well, after Arroyo painted him away, he had to look outside, and that ball was elevated. Anything elevated to Pujols, he's going to hammer it, and he didn't overswing at that pitch. A lot of hitters will go up there and try to hit that ball and pull it. If you do that, you top it and ground it out to the shortstop. He stayed right with it and hit it right up through the box and into the right center field gap.
No balls, 2 strikes to Duncan. That's up and in.
What you were talking about, George, that's what Mark McGwire did every single ball game when I played with him in 1998. He would go back into the clubhouse, look at the pitches from the pitcher, and then head out to his position at first base.
1 ball, 2 strikes. That's slapped to the right side. When you first came over to Cincinnati, there was hardly any video used at all. The guy who first brought the concept of video to Cincinnati was Greg Vaughn when he came over in '99.
You are correct. If you had video, you had it yourself.
Yep, exactly. And now the Reds have made giant strides in the last couple of years. There's a fly ball to left in his tracks. Is done. He'll haul it in for the 2nd out.
Well, George, as you know, there is nothing better from a scouting report standpoint than knowing what your opposition has done coming into the ball game. Now, if you can combine that with not only knowing mentally what they've done coming in, but you can see what they've done as they come in, then you're way ahead of the game as far as being prepared for the opposition, and that's really all you can do. Now, going out on the field and beating them, well, that's why we're here today.
Here's Rolen, walked and flied out 0 for 1. With Pujols off second. Rolen, another one of those Cardinals who have been so tough against the Reds in his career. 304, 23 homers, 61 knocked in. And it's like an all-star lineup against the Reds. Rolen 304, Duncan 426. Pujols 369, and hey, Jim Edmonds isn't even in the lineup tonight. Edmonds is the all-time Red killer. Edmonds and Eckstein both with back difficulties and out of the lineup on the disabled list.
Well, Arroyo got behind Rolen early in his second AB, threw him a changeup at 3-1, and Roland popped it up to center field.
Sky to center again. Here comes Hamilton. He's got it. Double, no harm. Pujols 16th double of the year. The Reds go back to work. Griffey, Dunn, and Encarnacion due up when we return. Cardinals lead the Reds 1-0. Senior Thompson's been tough on Cincinnati tonight, Cowboy.
We have seen Thompson throw a sinker ball, as we saw there. The changeup, as that pitch was to Josh Hamilton, even though the ball was inside, he still took off on the pitch. This is a sinker that got away from him, and look at what Molina does there. He points at the front shoulder and says, keep the shoulder in. That makes the sinker go down. Nonverbal communication at its finest.
64 pitches through 5 innings, manageable for Thompson, and here's Junior. He walked on a 3-2 pitch in the first, then flied out to right in the third.
I really believe that Molina has helped Thompson phenomenally tonight. Not that Thompson has to have somebody to lean on, but when you've got a catcher back there that can do what Molina does, he instills confidence.
When the Cardinals had the Gold Glove catcher Mike Matheny, and he was a free agent, I asked Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan, what happens if you can't reach a contract agreement with Matheny? He said, well, we're prepared to go with Yadi Molina. And Molina was just a rookie at that time. He said, are you serious, or are you just doing political speak? He said, no, we believe that he can be an outstanding catcher. First, because he's learned from Mike Matheny, and secondly, because he has aptitude. And they were right.
And I think Matheny and the Cardinals knew that this was going to be Matheny's last contract, and he had to cash it in.
Exactly. Bouncer down to the shortstop Miles, who's on the second base side of the bag. Junior retired. Goes as a 6-3 put out, 1 away in the 6th, and here comes Adam Dunn. Griffey 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. Here's Dunn. A ground ball out, a fly ball out. Sitting on 23 homers and 54 knocked in.
That was one of those cases, George, where it was best not only for the player in order to get a big contract, but it was good for the organization as well.
A line shot. Wow. Flagged down by Pujols. I mean, you talk about the blink of an eye and a rocket shot. You can't hit it any harder than that.
He moved his head out of the way just in case his glove broke.
Look at this. Listen. Boy, that sounds different when he hits it, doesn't it?
Man.
Can't hit it any harder than that. No elevation, so it ends up being a line drive, and Albert will be testing that left hand. He takes it out of the glove now and just make sure it's still there. So 2 away, and here's Encarnacion.
You don't have time to move the glove around in a perfect way to catch it in the web. That ball just gets on you, and if it hits you in the palm,
look what I got.
Get some ice after the game.
McCluskey Chevrolet, Ohio's #1 volume dealer, with payments as low as $99. Click or call 761-1111.com. McCluskey Chevrolet. Edwin popped up, single to left. That's the night we're celebrating tonight. There's a bloop into center. That's a base hit for Encarnacion. He's 2 for 3. It's Mr. Redleg's mustache night at the ballpark in Cincinnati, and Edwin celebrating with 2 base hits. Here's Hamilton 0 for 2. Those your tickets?
Not hardly. And George, I don't mean to sound critical of Encarnacion, because I think he's played very well since he's come back, but he's really not a 5-homer, 9-double guy in this lineup. They need more power production from his spot and from him as an individual. Now, I know that he's shortened up his swing. He's got 2 hits tonight. He's 2 for 3. All of that is going to look really good in the books and in the paper tomorrow. But for where they have him playing at third base and for what they expect for him to do, just hitting .268 with 5 homers and 9 doubles, that ain't going to get it.
We just left Philadelphia, where Wes Helms was struggling there. And they brought Dobbs up. Dobbs has really added some juice to their lineup. You do what you need to do to get it on track. The Reds hopeful that Edwin can get it on track. Since coming up he's gotten better. They need his numbers to produce offense at third. There's Josh, a strikeout and a ground out. Forget it, that's long gone. Talk about producing numbers. That's halfway up and right. A 2-run shot for Hamilton. 13 homers on the year. They'll fight for the ball as Thompson can do nothing but watch Hamilton clear them all, and the Reds lead it 2-1.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
That's a rocket shot.
Josh Hamilton was admiring the ball that came off the bat of Ryan Howard in Philadelphia that went 505 feet. And Josh Hamilton said, I really haven't caught one yet.
He caught that one, didn't he?
He hit that one right on the nose.
Ba-boom. A National League rookie leading total of 13 home runs for Josh. And the Reds now have a lead 2-1. Here's Gonzalez, grounded out. Henrique's on an infield hit. Another look at the swing.
Weight back, hands release, hips open. Goodbye, baseball.
Brooke Jacoby, the hitting coach, with him. That's a shot to left. Duncan at the wall will haul it in. So a 2-out big hit from number 33. Josh Hamilton's 13th homer. Reds have a lead 2-1. Going to the 7th. Juan Encarnacion will lead it off. Cincinnati Reds baseball being brought to you tonight by Chevy. See your Tri-State Chevy dealers or visit trychevy.com, and by Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center. Change the outcome. Here's Juan Encarnacion, doubled in the lone run that the Cardinals have. They came after a walk to Rolen in the second, and he flied to center in the fourth. George Grant and Jeff Brantley here at Great American Ballpark, the first of the weekend series between the Reds and the Redbirds.
Believe it or not, we've got a pitching matchup
at Great American Ballpark. Those two phrases don't usually coincide with each other, do they?
No, they do not.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Juan Encarnacion. 1 for 2 with that double.
1-0 for the longest time. Scott Rowland scoring the only run, and then after that blast from Josh Hamilton, it's 2-1 and getting fun.
We just left one of the biggest home run giving ballparks in America to come to another, but it just goes to show you, if you make your pitches, you can win in any park. That's a strikeout looking number 4 on the night. 4 strikeouts for Bronson. First out here in the 7th, and here's Molina.
Fastball down in the strike zone, and you can see the 2-seam grip on the ball, and it sinks down right at the knees of Encarnacion, and he couldn't pull the trigger.
Here's Molina, flied to right, struck out, 0 for 2. Adam Kennedy due to follow. Well, we're into the 7th now. Bronson Arroyo at the 90 pitch mark. Here's his 93rd pitch of the night. Your report card on him so far has got to be improving from a couple of times ago, huh?
Well, he has mixed in that changeup a lot, and that is a big key for Arroyo in this ball game.
Gonzalez dives, can't get a glove on it, and Molina has a base hit. 1-out hit. Here comes Kennedy.
This is a breaking ball that stays in the middle of the plate from Arroyo. Ball hit right on the nose. Gonzalez gives a great effort, but just can't get to it. And you've got to know, we were talking about scouting reports earlier, George. The Cardinals know that Mr. Arroyo throws a lot of breaking balls.
Here's Kennedy. Blooped one down the left field line with the infield pulled in and a runner on third in the second that Gonzalez made a great over-the-shoulder catch on. Then he bounced back to the pitcher in the fifth. That number uncommon for Adam Kennedy at this point in the season, a 208 average, no homers, 12 knocked in. He came up as a Cardinal infielder, traded in the Jim Edmonds deal to Anaheim, and now he came back this winter as a free agent. And you know, he's been pushing and trying to show that he belongs back in St. Louis, and he has struggled offensively. Former MVP of the League Championship Series in 2003 with the Angels. Had a couple of big hits, including a big 3-run homer in that series.
I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Aaron Miles has played quite well when he's had the opportunity. Eckstein has played well at shortstop, and Aaron Miles wants to play, and he's made that clearly known to skipper Tony La Russa, and his numbers show that he needs to get some playing time.
For a team that's struggling with offense, Miles is in there for that reason. 2 balls and 1 strike to Kennedy. Kennedy came up at the same time Jack Wilson did. I mean, you had 2, and they were both playing short and second, shifting back and forth. It looked like they had a double play combo that would last a long time. Here's the 2-1. That all changed when they brought Edgar Renteria to town, and it looked like Renteria would be there forever. So they traded both of them. Jack Wilson to Pittsburgh and Kennedy to Anaheim. Cardinals, of course, have great shortstop tradition. The Wizard, Ozzie Smith.
Yes, they do.
That catch over the shoulder by Gonzalez kind of reminded you of Ozzie. Boy, he patrolled that line brilliantly. Just to watch him take infield and the pop-ups that they'd hit to him back to the infield. I mean, like he'd have his eyes closed, he could still haul it in. 3-2, 1 out. Down the left field line. It's a fair ball. Molina around second, slams on the brakes as Dunn comes in quickly. Good job by Dunn to get to that one. Molina was thinking third all the way.
That was a great pitch from Arroyo. He had thrown the breaking ball backdoor, used the fastball on both sides. He had just got finished throwing the breaking ball inside and having him pull it foul, and then he comes back with the changeup, and this ball's hit off the top of the bat. If it's anywhere else on the infield, the ball is caught and just happened to be over Encarnacion's head into dead man's land.
The Brad Thompson's night is over. He'll be pinch hit for. Ryan Ludwig will come in and pinch hit.
Thompson pitched really well tonight. Only really made one mistake, and I don't know that you can qualify the home run to Josh Hamilton as a mistake because you haven't seen him enough times to know whether it's a good pitch or not.
Ludwig first pitch swinging with 1 out, infield fly rule called. Hatteberg will haul it in. So Ludwig 1 pitch, 1 out, and that's 2 outs in the inning.
Well, he goes up there looking for a breaking ball. That's exactly what he got. But that breaking ball didn't break. And when you get a breaking ball, that's the pitch that you want for it to extend out away from you so you can really get some extension on the bat. And that ball didn't do that, and that's why he popped it up.
Go back to the top of the order, Taguchi. So Thompson did his job for Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa tonight. He went 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 strikeouts, and a walk. And coming out of the bullpen, a spot starter this year, you didn't figure he'd go 110 or 120 pitches. He didn't. But he gave them what they needed, and that's what you would call a quality start. $80 pitches for Thompson on this night. Bronson Arroyo's over the 100 pitch mark. He's now at 103.
He pitched phenomenally well. You look at the Reds lineup, you don't want Griffey or Dunn to beat you. Neither one really put the ball in play with any authority. The one guy that did beat him, though, was Josh Hamilton, and that wasn't a bad pitch.
We've talked about this losing streak for Bronson Arroyo. Here's a look at that delivery to Hamilton, Cowboy.
Trying to get the ball inside. Look where this ball is. This ball is down and off the plate inside, and that shows you just the ability of the young man Josh Hamilton and what is yet to come out of this guy that has basically come out of nowhere as the Cincinnati Reds center fielder, and for years to come we're going to get to watch this guy bloom.
Arroyo was 3 steps towards the dugout, thought he had strike 3. Instead it'll be 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and runners at first and second, so the runners will be off and running. Didn't miss by much, did he?
No, he did not.
3-2 to Taguchi. Nubbed foul. Will try it again.
David Ross did a great job of receiving that pitch before. Caught the ball, even though the heel of his glove was the part that was still on home plate. The ball itself was probably off the plate, but to every other viewer in America except the one that's standing behind home plate, and that's Jim Wolf, that was a strike. But now we're at 3-2.
Fastball fouled off.
When you talk about framing pitches, you can watch where the ball is going to come there. Now watch where the heel of the glove is. The heel of the glove is right there, right on the outside corner. This is where the ball is, out here in the edge of the mitt. That's why you have good catchers, you have so-so catchers, and then you have great catchers, and that's a great receiver right there in David Ross.
He waves at ball 4 and fouls it off, so we'll try it again. 3-2.
And this is a receiver that has had probably one of the most difficult starts to a season for an everyday catcher that there is in big league baseball this year. He hasn't let 1 ounce of that offensive difficulty affect the way that he has played the game behind the plate, and my hat goes off to him for that.
We've talked a lot about it this year. There's a pop-up that'll reach the seats that, in spite of all the difficulty that David has had, I mean, he's gotten better defensively. He's having a better year defensively this year than he had a year ago.
And I think that not only has he done quite well behind home plate, the guys that have thrown to him on the mound, he has made them better pitchers.
10th pitch of the at bat. Here's the 3-2 again with 2 outs, and it's fouled off again by Taguchi. Great at bat by Taguchi. Great at bat by Arroyo. Pitch number 11 coming up. And that'll go foul.
See, this is the point in time where, when you've used your fastball early in the ball game, which has also allowed you to use your changeup because you've had a big difference in velocity in those 2 pitches, you know you can throw your breaking ball. So now Arroyo has a variety of pitches to throw to this guy Taguchi, who is known for putting together this type of AB.
Got it. Bronson wins this battle. A timely one for him as the Cards will strand 2. Reds still lead it 2-1. Now it's time for our Tri-State Chevy dealers 7th inning stretch. And this year, don't forget, when you can't be home to watch the Reds on FSN Ohio, check out MLB.tv. You can log on to the internet to watch every out-of-market game of the season live. Catch those you missed on demand or listen to every radio broadcast live. Sign up today for MLB.tv. It's an unparalleled live baseball experience. Baseball's always on MLB.tv. Changes for the Cardinals, and I don't know that we ever thought we'd be introducing this guy this year. One of the best closers of this generation. Troy Percival decided that he wanted to try a comeback after arm difficulties, being out of baseball all last year, and he's come all the way back to the major leagues. Cowboy.
Troy Percival has got an organ inside of him that very few people do, and that is an extra adrenaline gland. I'm saying that in jest because this guy can flat out get that heartbeat going.
Bronson Arroyo and Dick Pole with a 2-1 lead for the Reds as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Juan Castro's come out in the on-deck circle, so seemingly Arroyo's night is done. Ross will lead it off. Arroyo to follow, then Hatteberg. Percival's story, just an unbelievable one. Added to the roster on Tuesday for the Cardinals. This is his first appearance since coming back. There was all kinds of talk that he was going to make a comeback. The question was, with who? Percival on the mound. Ludwig stays in the game. He'll be in center field. Ludwig hitting in the 9 spot, and Percival in the leadoff spot.
Oh, almost had that.
That's the closest we've had to getting one up here for a while. There's Ludwig in center. So it's Duncan in left, Ludwig in center, and Encarnacion in right.
Percival looks exactly the same as he did when he left the game. High leg kick, little back turn, and here comes the pitch, and it's 93 miles an hour.
Look out.
Well, he doesn't have the same curveball. That's what he was trying to throw there, and that pitch looked like it kind of got away from him a little bit.
Nearly 2 years since he appeared on a major league mound. Some thought he'd come back in Anaheim. Others thought he'd come back in Detroit. The Cardinals were the ones that got him. And he's still got a little giddy up there, huh?
Yes, he does. I mean, he's still throwing the ball anywhere from 90 to 94 miles an hour. That pitch was 91, and it's got some high ride to that fastball. Tell you what, George, if he can get that breaking ball harnessed to anything at all, any type of second pitch, you're talking about a guy that's an invaluable commodity here. Whew.
The numbers for Troy: 4-time All-Star, 324 career saves. That's 12th on the all-time list. He had 42 saves back in '98. That was a great season. He had even a better season in 2002. 40 saves, a 4-1 record, and a 1.92 earned run average. He had 9 straight years of 20 or more saves. Just a big-time guy in a big-time role.
If there was anything wrong with his arm at all, he would be taking a lot of time between pitches. He'd be walking around behind the mound. He's getting the ball back from Molina, and he's getting on the mound before the batter gets into the box. He's ready to go.
Castro pinch hitting for Bronson. Juan steps in at 171 on the season. Right field, Encarnacion heading back at the warning track, reaches up and hauls it in. And don't forget, tonight on FSN Ohio, take a look around the major leagues on the FSN Baseball Report, followed by the FSN Final Score. Then mixed martial arts rocks the ring on the International Fight League. That all comes up tonight on FSN Ohio. The 2 away, and here comes Hatteberg in the leadoff spot. When the rumors started to circulate this spring that he might make a comeback, I think all of us thought that if he made a comeback, it would be in Anaheim, because he threw out the ceremonial first pitch in the Angels season back in April. And I think a lot of folks were surprised that the eventual decision was to sign with St. Louis. But remember, you got Jim Edmonds, you got Kennedy, you got Eckstein, his former teammates on this club, and that's like a fraternity row kind of relationship.
I think there's also the point of that pride factor seeping in there of always being a closer and always being the guy, as Troy Percival has been. if I can't close, if Isringhausen is going to be the closer, then I want to at least be the setup man. Well, that's not going to happen in Anaheim.
Exactly. The one chance he had, and Izzy, of course, has had some injury problems. He'd be great this year, although the last save that Jason Isringhausen had was against the Reds. And that was over a month ago. He hadn't had any chances.
I'll tell you what, Percival looks like he just has just some great rejuvenation.
It's impressive. It is. I mean, knowing him over the years, there's a liner rolling has it. But Percival's first appearance since 2005. Welcome back, Troy. Great to have you back. Good luck to you. It's been a long road back for that fellow. The Reds leading here. That's the important number. 2-1 Cincinnati. 2-1 Reds. We're heading to the 8th inning. Time for a Chrysler game summary. The offense provided by Josh Hamilton, a 2-run homer. Meanwhile, Bronson Arroyo's been dealing on this night, Cowboy.
Arroyo started out throwing a lot of fastballs early, and it allowed him to go to this pitch, which is that breaking ball late, and you see the fastball there. He even mixed in a few changeups in this ball game. Arroyo is back on his game. He's going to leave this ball game feeling quite well about his accomplishment, and rightly so.
Your Chrysler game summary. Bronson exits, 7 innings, 6 hits, a run, 5 strikeouts, and a walk. Here comes Marcus McBeth, and talk about a roller coaster rocket ride for Marcus from being in the minor leagues in Oakland with hardly any chance of making it to the majors. Traded in the deal for Chris D'Onofrio. He makes his major league debut. Now he's got a couple of wins, and now he's being elevated little by little. We've seen it in the last week or so, and really you label him as your setup guy here in the 8th inning.
I think the big issue with Marcus McBeth is that he is not carrying any fear with him from the bullpen about throwing strikes, of who he's facing or whatever that may be. And he can throw the ball over the plate for a strike. He can hit that part of the plate, which is arm side away or away from arm side at any time. And that's a task that's not easy to do. It takes practice, it takes confidence, and it takes being mechanically sound to throw the ball down and into a lefty or down and away to a righty.
Here's Aaron Miles in the second spot in the lineup. Pujols due to follow. Down the left field line, long run for Dunn. He can't get there. It kicks into the wall. The throw to second won't be in time, and Miles has a double. Number 9 on the season for Aaron Miles. He's got his second hit of the night, and the potential tying runs now at second base with nobody out in the 8th.
How many times have we seen this with Marcus McBeth, though? You saw where that pitch was. It was about 6 inches off the plate. Just stick the bat out there and flop it in. Nobody's hit the ball hard off of him yet. He may not have had the greatest of luck so far, but he has thrown strikes and he's done what he's supposed to do, and that's attack the hitters and keep the ball down and don't walk anybody.
So he'll have to deal with a tough part of this order, you bet. Pujols 2 for 3, a single and a double. Flied to right his other time up. McBeth against Pujols. Albert for the season, the 2 hits now pushed his average over 300. When the Reds faced the Cardinals the first time, his average was in the low 200s. He's come a long way back to where you expect him to be. That's down low. McBeth, in fact, made his debut against the Cardinals. That was at St. Louis the first week of June, and came in the 8th inning through a perfect 8th. Brilliant defensive outfielder at the University of South Carolina. Learning his craft as a pitcher now. Down the right field line, curving towards the pole. It'll go out of play about 25 feet. Into the seats as Albert will be 1-2. Now there's some guys you're 1-2, you think you got them under control. Not Albert Pujols.
And I think that's why David Ross is on the mound right now with his young right-handed pitcher, is to make sure that McBeth knows that 0-2, 1-2, it's just the same as being 3-0. We still have to make a quality pitch right here.
And they just want to be sure. Let's see, there might be some more than that. Mark Mann's trotting out. He wants to make sure he's okay, and he says, yep, I'm fine. And Jerry Narron right behind him. Let's take a look and see if we can detect anything from that last delivery.
I don't think so. I think a lot of that had to do with just being a young player, a young pitcher, and you've got Albert Pujols at the plate, and you might have overextended a little bit or tried to throw it a little bit too hard.
Here's the 1-2. And the one thing we've learned from these two former South Carolina outfielders, Kudlangas and McBeth, they're not afraid to take the ball. They'll never say no. McBeth has had a very busy week, appearing twice in Philadelphia and now here against the Cardinals.
Well, I just want to see Kudlangas throw more strikes than what he's been throwing. He's got a phenomenal breaking ball. He needs to use it.
From 1-2, it's now 3 balls, 2 strikes to Albert. Duncan on deck. Hit hard into center field. Here comes Hamilton charging. He may have a shot at him. They'll hold the runner. Pujols a big turn at first, heads back to second. You talk about scouting reports. The word has gone very rapidly around the league that the guy in center for the Reds has a cannon. He's thrown out 3 people at the plate. And the third base coach for the Cardinals, Jose Aquindo, put the slam brakes on sign that time on what looked like a base hit that would score a run.
Watch where that ball was hit. Normally right where the shortstop Gonzalez would be playing in a double play situation, but because of the runner at second base, he's played way over to the pull side, and that ball rolls right up the middle for a base hit.
So back-to-back hits, first and third, nobody out, and the Reds will go back to the bullpen. Time for our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. You're watching Reds baseball on FSN Ohio. Lefty-lefty matchup. John Kudlangas in to face Chris Duncan. Duncan tonight flied out, grounded out, flied out. And you want him to throw more breaking balls, Cowboy?
Yes, I do. I think this kid has a phenomenal breaking ball, especially against left-handed hitters. And he's got to use it. In his mind, he thinks he's got to throw a fastball to get ahead in the count and then use his breaking ball. And I say it's exactly opposite. Breaking ball to get ahead, fastball to freeze him.
You get in the 70% category of runners stranded, you've done your job.
You've done a great job.
He's got a couple of tough ones here. Pujols at first, a tying run. Miles down at third. Duncan takes it outside. 2 balls and a strike. The numbers on this second-year outfielder. Only 1 of his 14 homers against the lefty. Check swing, foul. Reds playing it double play depth, middle of the infield. They will try for 2 and give up the run if they can get to. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And this is a good guy to try to put the double play in order, because Duncan is not fleet of foot. And if they can get a ball that's to one of the middle infielders, they can turn this thing over.
Just missing outside.
But on the flip side, George, Kudlangas has plenty of arm action and plenty of stuff to strike him out. Especially, you saw the numbers that he had against a left-handed pitcher, and Kudlangas has a great breaking ball and could strike him out.
Not this time. That's a solid single to center.
As a fastball.
Duncan has come up with his 38th run batted into the season. The throw to second not in time. Back is Pujols. And Arroyo loses the opportunity to get a win. Bronson Arroyo pitched brilliantly tonight. 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 run. He leaves, and the bullpen in this Bermuda Triangle 8th inning. It's the way it's been for the Reds all season. Out comes Jerry Nair, and that'll be it for Kudlangas. Duncan delivers, and we're now tied at 2. Still nobody out here in the 8th inning. And while the pitching change takes place, we'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on FSN. The South Carolina connection didn't get it done on this night. A double by Miles, a single by Pujols off Macbeth, and then the single by Duncan. Here's another look, Cowboy.
Well, this is either a cut fastball or a fastball, but regardless of how you want to make that determination, that was not a good pitch. It may have been down in the strike zone. It may have been on the outside corner. But I've watched John Kudlangas pitch. His best pitch that he has in his arsenal is that 12-6 hard breaking ball that he throws. We've seen him punch out guys left and right from the left side, and we didn't see one in that AB. And that's a shame. That's just not smart pitching.
Well, you didn't see one. You've seen 2. Now you're seeing 3 rookies in this 8th inning for the Reds out of the bullpen. Here's Brad Salmon facing Scott Rowland. That's inside. And the other thing you saw, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I saw you doing it in your career, but there was Eddie Guardado talking to Macbeth and Kudlangas.
Oh, yeah.
That veteran presence on the bench and trying to help them get through a moment like this is what this year is about for those young pitchers. I mean, it's very difficult, Cowboy. You've been there. You can't really contend and
develop at the same time.
It's almost impossible to do.
And that's why I'm glad that Eddie Guardado is back, because he is the one guy that is not afraid of somebody taking his job, and he's willing to go out and exhibit an attitude that would be a team attitude, and that would be to help the younger guys learn when they make mistakes. I guarantee you the first thing that Eddie asked him, did you throw your breaking ball? No. Was the pitch a good pitch that you threw? Well, I thought it was, but he hit it over the guy's head. Well, then it wasn't a good pitch. Might have looked real nice.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Rowland. Pujols the go-ahead run off second. Average speed at best. So the Reds should have a chance with a base hit to center or a base hit to right to throw the runner out. Above average arm for Hamilton in center. And you know Griffey's story. Below average arm in left. Rowland tonight. A walk, a fly ball out, a fly ball out. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And we'll go full 3-2. Salmon in last night's 10-inning encounter, the 8-7 loss at Philadelphia. He was in line for his first career win. He became the victim of a blown save. Didn't get it last night. Fouled off. Staying alive is Rowland. Salmon also has had a busy week. Pitched the last couple of days in Philadelphia. 2/3 of an inning and an inning.
Well, they're all going to continue to have busy times until somebody steps forward and is able to get more than 1 out in an inning.
Popped up. Infield fly rule called. Under it is Hatterberg. He's got it. So Rowland's disposed of. That's the first out of the inning. Now the Reds can get out of this without any further damage if they can coax a ground ball from Encarnacion.
And that is not where David Ross set up for that pitch, but fortunately for Brad Salmon and the Reds, that's where the ball went, and that was fastball right on the hands of Scott Rowland, because when he gets 2 strikes from that point on, he's looking middle away and tries to fight off the ball in, and he couldn't fight off that 94-mile-an-hour heater.
Here's Encarnacion, doubled in the first run, then flied out and struck out 1 for 3. Scoring in this game, Encarnacion's double chased home Roland, who had walked in the second. Cardinals led it 1-0. The Reds took a 2-1 lead on the Josh Hamilton homer after an Edwin Encarnacion base hit in the 6th. And now here in the 8th, the double, a single, a single. Duncan's the last of the hits. The single has tied it. There goes Pujols, and it's popped back and out of play. He had the base stolen big time. 0-2. No, not a speedy base runner, but a smart base runner is Albert. He's upset because he had the base stolen. You know that. He plays the game the right way.
Well, the element of surprise is no longer in effect.
0-2. Just missing down and away. 1-2.
I don't think Encarnacion could have swung at this pitch if he had to. And because Ross was setting up, he blocked out home plate umpire Jim Wolf, and he was not able to make the call.
Not only that, you know the book on Encarnacion. They usually go up the ladder, and that's what Ross wanted him to do. Go up. Instead, that was down around the knees. Now it's 2-2. Get ahead, throw breaking balls away, and fastballs up against Juan. That's always been the book.
Well, he started out well, threw him a couple of breaking balls early, fouled him off. Now he's got to put him away at the 2-2 pitch.
And you wonder, was there a play on, because Gonzalez, as that pitch was delivered, was heading towards the bag.
Well, if there was a play on, Brad Salmon did not know about it.
Exactly.
And this is not the time that you put on a play with a rookie standing on the mound with his heart beating about 1,000 miles an hour. And he's facing Juan Encarnacion. Leave him alone.
Try it again. 2-2.
Now the play's on.
Two, 1 out. That will get through. Pujols had to hold. They're going to send him. Here comes Griffey's throw. It won't be in time, and the Cardinals take the lead.
What inning are we in?
It is the Bermuda Triangle 8 for the Reds. Fourth hit in the inning for the Cardinals. After Arroyo had a 2-1 lead. A double by Miles, a single by Pujols, a single by Duncan ties it. That single by Encarnacion. And on the throw to the plate, he went to second. And the Cardinals now have a 3-2 lead. So it's a single for Encarnacion. He goes to second on the throw. Cardinals lead at 3-2. And here comes Molina, the catcher. Reds now with runners at second and third. No double play possibility. It's still only 1 out. Bring the infield into the edge of the grass.
This is a time where you've just got to collect your thoughts, get yourself back together, slow your heartbeat down a little bit, and continue to make pitches. You're still a 1-run ball game. It's just 1 run the other way.
Make it a 2-run ball game. Molina comes up. with the 5th hit of the inning. The Cardinals now have 11 hits. Jerry Narron has brought in his rookie bullpenners here in the 8th. And the Cardinals have taken a 3-run inning and turned this game into a 4-2 lead.
Well, they all know how to throw a fastball, and I think they knew how to do that when they were born. None of them have shown the ability to throw a breaking ball for a strike, and if you're going to pitch at this level, you've got to be able to do that.
Here's Kennedy tonight, popped up, bounced back to the pitcher and single.
Contrary to popular belief, you need 2 pitches at this level to win. I don't care if you throw it 105.
Here's the 0-1. Trying to check it. He does. A ball and a strike. The Reds story one of losing a lead here in the 8th. The Bronson Arroyo story, the same picture. He pitched exceedingly well tonight. 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 run. Had 5 strikeouts. Walked 1. Left with a 2-1 lead. And here in the 8th, 5 hits for the Cardinals. They've scored 3 times with only 1 out. There's still 2 runners on base. That's foul down the first base line.
And if that's the only positive that you leave with out of this ball game, that's a good positive to have Arroyo back on track, or seemingly back on track, at least throwing the ball better than what we saw over the last month. But there is nothing that is going to get better for this ball club until they get this bullpen straightened out, and we have seen that from day one.
We told you about the move earlier today. Ricky Stone, the veteran, brought up from Louisville. Victor Santos designated for assignment. There's Bob Castellini, the Reds owner. Not a happy camper these days, as are the rest of the ownership group, the front office, and the fans. 35,508 strong here at Great American Ballpark.
And arms are all fine and good, and the arms that the Reds are bringing up can throw the baseball.
6-4 on to first. Yes, a double play. Nice turn by Brandon Phillips to avert still another run scoring. But the Cardinals scored 3 in the 8th. They lead it 4-2. Here are the numbers on this one. 4 runs, 11 hits, no errors for the Cardinals. 3 in the 8th. The turning point for St. Louis. 2 runs, 6 hits, no errors for the Reds. The 2 Reds runs coming on a Josh Hamilton home run on this night. The numbers. Smiling side of the scoreboard for the Cardinals as we go to the bottom of the 8th. The frowning side for the Reds, and Phillips, Griffey, and Dunn due up 2, 3, and 4 for Cincinnati. By the way, we'd like to thank all those who participated in the GMC Acadia $1 Million Sweepstakes. The winner of the all-new 2007 GMC Acadia is Karen Grizel. Congratulations to Karen from GMC and your friends at FSN Ohio. Here's Phillips, and before we get to this bottom of the inning, let's finish our thoughts about that bullpen. We've talked a lot about it. Do you contend? Do you build? And the Reds are trying to do a little bit of both this year, which is so difficult with the rookies in the bullpen. And these are rookies that may very well be contributors in the years to come. But as you rightly mentioned, it's not just being able to throw hard, not just being able to throw a fastball. It's the whole package.
Well, and the whole package is not that far away. It's just the fact that you have to have command of more than just a fastball. Yes, these guys have arms down there and they can throw the ball hard, but you've got to have something that you can use to either set up the fastball or to use to put somebody away after they've seen a fastball. Now, when you throw the ball the way that Brad Salmon does, which is anywhere from 93 to 96, Well, you can use your fastball a lot more, but you still need a quality breaking ball every once in a while to keep the hitters off balance. And that's really all you're trying to do as a pitcher.
No balls, 2 strikes to Phillips. That's in the dirt.
But if you have nobody telling you that, or if you have nobody that reinforces the fact of you throwing a quality breaking ball in a ball game, as we saw Eddie Guardado go over and talk to both Kutlangas and talking to Marcus McBeth, those are the types of things that really reinforce whether you did bad or whether you did good.
Swing and a miss from the new pitcher Russ Springer. Springer gets a strike up for the first out here of the 8th inning. So Thompson went 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs. Troy Percival an inning, and here's Russ Springer in the bottom of 8. Another veteran out of the bullpen for Dave Duncan. He gets the first out of the inning.
And he is a veteran, and he has learned over a period of time that throwing strikes with 2 pitches is what has made him a better pitcher.
Well, LaRussa will make a change with the lefties coming up, Griffey and Dunn. While the pitching change takes place, he'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on FSN. Hey, get your motor running. Get out on the highway. Get to Great American Ballpark Sunday, because the first 10,000 fans 18 and younger will receive a free 57 Chevy die-cast car from Tri-State Chevy dealers. Special red hot car detailed with special Reds logos. For more info, be sure to purchase tickets and dial it up at Reds.com. It's a Tri-State Chevy dealers die-cast toy car special. It's coming up on Sunday right here at Great American Ballpark. Here's Ken Griffey Jr. facing the lefty. Down the left field line towards the corner. There goes Duncan, and it's a foul ball off his glove, and Griffey will get another shot at it. But what a long run by Duncan. Griffey gets a break as it goes off the glove. No error charged, and Griffey will get another chance.
And you wonder, George, why would Tony La Russa bring in Russ Springer for one batter and then go directly to Troy Cate immediately with a 2-run lead? And you got 2 lefties up. Surely neither one of them could hit 2-run home runs. Well, the bottom line for La Russa right now is he's going after every ball game to win, just like it's the last game of the World Series from here on out, because they got a lot of ground to pick up.
And the next question too is, do you want Springer, the righty, to face Griffey, who he's seen a number of times before? He's never seen Cate before, so maybe for one at bat he can get away with it. There's a bloop into left, long run, Miles, he can't get there. Griffey's on. So the tying run will come to the plate. Here comes Adam Dunn.
What is highly important also for Tony La Russa is that each bullpen entity and each person that's down there feels good about the job that they did after every ball game. Russ Springer comes on, strikes out Brandon Phillips. Well, he's going to feel great about his job that he did tonight, even though he only faced one batter. And Russ Springer did not used to be that way. He used to be a guy that when he came in the ball game, he wanted to see how hard he could throw it and didn't care about his breaking ball. He wanted to strike out everybody that stood up there.
Here's Dunn, swing and a miss on the breaking ball for strike 1. Dunn bounced into a fielder's choice, fly to center, and then hit a blistering line drive down to first that just about knocked Pujols over. A line drive out. He's 0 for 3. Facing Cate, the 26-year-old reliever.
And being 26 years old and with only a small amount of time in the big leagues, that tells you how much confidence that Tony La Russa has got in this kid this time of the ball game.
In the dirt. Cate was recalled a week and a half ago from Memphis for the second time. Made a couple of appearances for the Cards in early May before went back to Memphis after he made his major league debut back in early May. Appeared in 16 games for Memphis, and now here with the big club. This is the first time in years that the Reds have had a better numerical evaluation of their pitching staff than the Cardinals. The Reds starters came in 12th in the league with an ERA of 4.8. The Cardinals 5.3, 16th in the league, last in the league in starting pitching. And the two bullpens have been similar. The Cardinals a little better. Dunn hits it a ton to right. Does he have enough? Encarnacion at the wall, looking up, and he'll haul it in. A skyscraper from Adam Dunn. It went up, but not out enough.
Quick question: is that out of the ballpark in Philadelphia last night?
With the wind blowing, that's probably about 20 rows deep.
Man, I thought this ballpark gave up some home runs. Not like Philadelphia.
So Kate, the lefty, gives up a hit, then the fly ball, and then Encarnacion due at the plate. Tony La Russa will come back out, and they'll go back to the bullpen while the pitching change takes place. We'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on FSN. A 3-run top of the 8th for the St. Louis Cardinals has given them a 4-2 lead. The Reds trying to come back in the bottom of the 8th. Here's our John Morrell hot dog play of the night. The shortstop for the Reds, Alex Gonzalez, a dandy over-the-shoulder basket catch of this blue that could have been more trouble for the Reds in that inning. Nice play by Alex, our John Morrell hot dog play of the night. Here's a familiar face, Ryan Franklin coming in, and here's Edwin Encarnacion, Cowboy.
Ryan Franklin has really put it together in this Cardinal bullpen. These are some of the best numbers that he has put together in quite some time, and I think a lot of it is the fact that when he comes out of the bullpen, it's game time right on. No messing around, no change-ups, just here it comes and let's get after it. And I think what it's done for him, George, is it's made him much more aggressive than when he was pitching in the starting rotation, and it's made him a much better pitcher. And if he ever does go back to the rotation, he will have lived some success because of this time in the bullpen.
He started over 100 games in the major leagues. He was with the Reds last year for 20 games, but all of them were in relief. Encarnacion to center. Right there in his tracks to haul it in is the center fielder for the Cardinals, and that'll do it as Schumacher will haul it in. So the Reds threaten, but nothing to show for it. They still trail 4-2. And don't forget, after every game here on FSN Ohio, you want the complete story of Reds baseball, and stay with us for Reds Live. Tonight, Jeff Pecora will put the capper on this one. After every game, either Jim Day or Jeff Pecora will be there for you. It's Reds Live post game coming up after Reds baseball tonight. Now, here's a nice story coming to unfold at Great American Ballpark. Ricky Stone is back, 32 years of age, a native of Hamilton, Ohio. Throughout his career, always dreamed of coming back to Cincinnati. He did in 2005, appeared in 23 games. Last year was out of baseball, and lo and behold, when we showed up at spring training this year, there he was running sprints in the outfield. And I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm trying to come back. Well, he's come all the way back, Cowboys, in the major leagues.
Well, he's put together some phenomenal numbers down in Louisville. I mean, a 1.7 ERA, deserves a shot of getting back to the big leagues. And he's shown command of the strike zone by striking out 27. He's only walked 7 guys. And yes, he is 32, but right now the Reds can use outs. And that's an out.
Bangs this one down to second. There's out number 1. 32 years of age, originally selected by the Dodgers. Came through the Dodger organization, was a starter most of his minor league career, came up at the major league level with Houston in the bullpen, and was a solid bullpen performer for the early part of this decade with the Astros. The Reds got him in Louisville in 2005 out of the bullpen. He had a good year. He was up here for 23 games, 30 innings and 48 hits. That year, 2005, he was outrighted to Louisville, refused the assignment, became a free agent. In fact, he signed with the Cardinals at that time and went to Memphis. So here's Stone dealing with the pinch hitter for the pitcher spot.
Is this Anthony Reyes?
It's Anthony Reyes, and Tony La Russa throughout his career has used his pitchers often. Jason Marquis, an outstanding hitter. Reyes and Kip Wells. Wells, another good hitter for a pitcher available to pinch hit. La Russa will do that, especially when he wants to save a pinch hitter. And remember, he's got a unique situation now. He's got Schumacher in the game. He's got Gary Bennett as backup catcher. Scott Spezio's technically on the roster for tonight's ball game, but he's not even here. He's got that infected finger. They haven't put him on the disabled list, so it's down to the bottom of the ladder. Nice scoop, nice throw, but bobbled over at the other end. It'll go as a base hit. Gonzalez went a long way to get it, and Reyes, who struggled on the mound, gets a base hit here at the plate. Official scorer Glenn Sample barking out base hit for Reyes, the pitcher, in his pinch hitting effort.
Boy, I sure thought Hatterberg was going to catch that ball there. That was a long enough hop for him to be able to make that play.
So 1 out, 1 on, and here's Miles. Miles started the mess in the 8th inning with a leadoff double. Then Pujols singled off McBeth. In came Kulangas. He gave up a single to Duncan that tied the game at 2. In came Salmon, who gave up a base hit to Encarnacion to make it 3-2, and a base hit to Molina, who made it 4-2. And that's where we are right now in the top of the 9th. Seems like every time these two teams play, we said it this week in Philadelphia, it seemed like every time you turn around, Utley and Ryan Howard were coming up, and every time you turn around, there's Albert Pujols sitting in the on-deck circle. Don't you know the pitchers know that too? 1 ball, 1 strike.
That inning where the Cardinals put 3 on the board, and that was the top of the 8th inning. That at bat that Kulangas had to face Duncan. That's a key at bat. When you bring in a lefty to face a lefty, you got to get him out.
6-4. Yes, sir. 3. The Reds turn a pair. Ricky Stone gets out of the jam. Welcome back, Ricky. Good to have you back in the major leagues. The folks from Hamilton are here tonight. Let's hope the Reds can end it. Give them a W maybe with a rally in the 9th. 35,000 in the ballpark. It is Mr. Redleg's stash night, and they're being used every way possible. And also the rally caps are in effect. The scoring for the Reds tonight, 1 big swing. It came from Josh Hamilton. Hamilton's round tripper at one point gave the Reds a 2-1 lead. That was in the 6th inning. Josh will come up here in the 9th. The Reds need base runners. They trail it by 2. 4 runs now, 12 hits for the Cardinals. 2 runs, 7 hits for Cincinnati. If you're just joining us, Bronson Arroyo pitched great. He went 7 innings, allowed 6 hits, only 1 run, 5 strikeouts and a walk. He left with a 2-1 lead. The bullpen couldn't hold it in the 8th as the Cardinals scored 3. And hard to believe, but the last save that Jason Isringhausen got, it was number 14. On June the 6th against Cincinnati, he pitched a perfect 9th. He hasn't had one since then, Cowboy.
That's the stretches that you go through as a closer. And you have to keep yourself sharp. You don't like pitching in ball games when they don't matter, but sometimes you got to do it so you can get right on a night like tonight.
Here's Hamilton. Struck out, grounded out, and then hit the 2-run homer.
Isringhausen, even though he hasn't had a save in almost a month, he still only walked 10 batters in 30+ innings. That's pretty solid.
Well, the Reds get the base runner they want. The potential tying run will come to the plate. Trying to get out of the way is Josh. Can't do it, and he marches down to first.
That looked like a slider that came out of the side of his hand. It was headed towards the back of Hamilton before he even moved.
Isringhausen for his career has 19 saves and 23 opportunities against the Reds. Here's Alex Gonzalez tonight. Bounced out, infield hit, flied out, 1 for 3. In the dirt and wide. A ball and a strike to the Reds shortstop. We talked a little bit about this in Philadelphia. The Reds have struggled coming back in ball games, and when trailing after 8, these are the numbers reflected on this 2007 season. 1 and 42. Wouldn't be a bad night for number 2. That's up a little high.
And that's 3 consecutive breaking balls from Jason Isringhausen. The first pitch was a strike. The last 2 not close.
Thursday at Philadelphia, Gonzalez had a big home run for the Reds in a game they would eventually lose. And now he's got a 3-1 count against Isringhausen. Gonzalez 0 for 6 against the Cardinal closer. David Ross is on deck. The Reds have used Castro. They have Valentin, the left-handed pinch hitter, the switch hitter. The only left-handed bat left for them. Swing and a miss, full count 3-2. Conine, Moeller, and Hopper are also available. Valentin, though, is 0 for 4 against Izzy. And that's, you start a ball game, you know what those numbers are for Jerry Narron. There really is no one on this bench that has good numbers against this closer. Here's a 3-2. He got it. Strikeout number 1 for Isringhausen.
And if you're the closer, George, if there are any teams that have good numbers against you, you're probably not going to be the closer.
Well, if you have one guy, you hopefully have, you know, for instance, Griffey sitting on the bench didn't start today.
There you go.
He's got a homer off Izzy. Other than that, there's no other lefty. Isringhausen will face Valentin with 1 out and 1 on, and he is the Reds' best pinch hitter. He had 4 pinch hit homers last year, 1 pinch hit homer this year, and he had 2 big hits. One a pinch hit, the other his second at bat double. That was a big one for the Reds in their win on Wednesday night in Philadelphia. This is the way it's gone all year. The Reds and the Cardinals have gone back and forth, leading the league in total pinch hits. The Cardinals lead the league in pinch hit average. The Reds and Cardinals are tied with total number of pinch hits at 30. So here's Javi. Now with 3 catchers, Valentin relegated more to a pinch hitting duty role than a catching role. And he's good at what he's doing right here.
Very good.
0 for 4 against Isringhausen. Pujols will play behind Hamilton at first. With 1 out, he's showing no inclination of going to second. Do you send him here? I mean, to avoid the potential double play? Do you let him go?
I think the reason that you're hitting Valentin here is because he can hit the ball out of the ballpark, and that's what you want to try for him to do here. Otherwise, you just pinch hit a right-hander and wait for him to hit the 3-run homer.
But I mean, do you say with nobody covering the runner at first? Is it?
I don't think so. I think if you get your runner thrown out in this situation, you're asking for some problems.
But there's nobody covering, nobody holding him, and there's nobody near the bag at second. No balls, 2 strikes to Valentin. There goes the runner. There goes strike 3. No stolen base. Defensive indifference. Back-to-back strikeouts for Isringhausen, and the Reds down to their final out. It'll be Jeff Conine. Conine against Isringhausen, 7 for 21. No left-handed bats left, so Conine will get the last shot. We've seen this so often of late. When Conine gets an at bat off the bench, it's usually against
the closer
and a right-handed closer at that. But he's the last bullet that Jerry Narron has of veteran stature. And he's come up with some outstanding at-bats in tough situations. Conine leads the Reds total pinch hits with 7. Isringhausen to the stretch. There's a strike. Hamilton's run at second. Not as important as the guy at the plate, obviously, as the Reds trail by 2. Outfield deep at all 3 positions. That's another strike. 1 and 2. They're the numbers we talked about on Conine. $35,000 Reds fans not giving up hope yet. He holds on. Don't forget game 2 of the series tomorrow. Kyle Loesch will go for the Reds. Mike Maroth for the Cardinals, with Reds Live coming at 6:30. On Sunday it'll be a 12:30 start for Reds Live. Homer Bailey will go for Cincinnati. 2-2. Staying alive is Conine. This veteran has come up with some outstanding at-bats in tough situations like this.
And you could see him flip that bat out there on that pitch that was headed towards the outside corner. It looks like he broke the end of the bat off. Gonna have to get him another bat. But for Conine in this situation, you almost have to guard against the hardest pitch from Isringhausen, which is a fastball, and he can run it up there around 95, 96 miles an hour. But with him throwing the consistency, talking about Isringhausen, the consistency he's got with that over-the-top curveball. Boy, you're battling uphill right here.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Hamilton off second. Isringhausen to the stretch. Down and away will go full. Hatteberg on deck. Hatteberg 0 for 5 against Isringhausen in their matchups. Great at bat for Conine. Isringhausen got ahead of him, fouled off a couple of tough pitches. Here comes Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, out to talk to his closer. Now the tying runs are on. Hopper will come in to run for Conine, and Hatteberg will come to the plate.
And I would say, if you're Jerry Narron, this is about the best that you could have hoped for coming into this 9th inning, is to get a couple of runners on and have a chance with Scott Hatteberg to swing the bat. 0 for 5 or not, he's still got the power to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Hatteberg tonight, single, double, lined out twice. 2 for 4. He steps in right at 297 on the season. He's had a great stretch on this just completed road trip. He hit over 300, hit 340 on the road trip. Well, here we go. Reds trying to rally in the 9th. Hatteberg, that's wide for ball 1. Hatteberg singled in the first, was left stranded, doubled in the third, and left stranded. If dialed in is a word, that's what Hatteberg has been for the last couple of weeks. He just has been right on it. Pitches away, a line to left. You try to beat him down and in, and he'll line it down the right field line.
And he just missed that ball there, fouled it straight back.
1 ball, 1 strike, 2 away, 2 on. Big breaking ball drops in there. He locked him up with that one, didn't he?
telling you, that is the ultimate equalizer, because if you're looking for any kind of fastball at all, and this pitch starts up, your body says no right away, and then that thing comes spinning down right at the kneecaps. Tough one.
1 ball, 2 strikes. On the corner, Hatterberg will argue won't do any good because the guy's decision that counts is Jim Wolf, the home plate umpire. So Isringhausen strikes out the side in the 9th. He picks up his first save since a save against the Reds 3.5 weeks ago. And the Cardinals hold on for a 4-2 victory in game 1 of this series. 4 runs, 12 hits for St. Louis, 2 runs, 7 hits. No errors in this ball game for the Reds or the Cardinals. 2 hours, 51 minutes worth of baseball before 35,508. So the home cooking doesn't work in game 1 of this series for Cincinnati. Back with more from Great American Ballpark after these messages. Cardinals win game 1 of the series 4-2 as Jason Isringhausen picks up his 15th save. Our Cincinnati Children's Hospital game-changing play of the night came in the 8th when the Cardinals had 5 base hits. The go-ahead base hit came from Juan Encarnacion. He had a double in the 2nd that knocked in the 1st round, and in the 8th a single knocks in the 3rd run as the Cardinals took a 3-2 lead. Molina added to that 4-2, and that was the story of this one. Our Cincinnati Children's Hospital game-changing play of the night. A night, once again, Jeff Brantley, where the bullpen gave it up in the 8th.
Well, they did give it up, and so as I was saying, while all of that was going on, if you've got to take something positive out of every ball game, which is what I try to do, you look back at how Bronson Arroyo pitched. He pitched much better than what we've seen over the last 3 to 4 weeks. And hopefully that's the Bronson Arroyo that we'll see as we move on through this season. Hopefully the next start will be well. He'll get some time off during the All-Star break, and he'll finish up strong to this season, because this club has got to have him in that number 2 slot.
Bronson was great tonight. 7 innings, 6 hits and a run, 5 strikeouts and a walk, but he didn't get a win. He left leading 2-1, but the 5 hits and 3 runs in the 8th turned this one around. Don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow with game 2 of the series. Tony La Russa and the Cardinals, and Albert Pujols in town to play Jerry Naren's club. Reds Live begins at 6:30. Tonight's game produced by Christian Roberts, directed by Anthony DeMarco, coordinating producer Doug Johnson, executive producer Tom Farmer. Coming up next, Reds Live with Pick Jeff Pecoro. See you at the ballpark, everybody.